Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. And today we're going to talk about the waiting room. And where did your mind go with that waiting room? Was it at the DMV or at the urgent care or at the dentist or the emergency room? We're not going to talk about those waiting rooms, but we're going to talk about God's waiting room. And this came up from this week of like, okay, we need to wait, we need to wait. And I was like, Candace, we need to figure out what wait actually means in the Bible instead of our definition of waiting at the dentist or waiting for someone else to do something. So, Candace, what do we get?
Wow. Yes. So today we were like, she said this about the word wait. And before she even finished, I was like, all right, let's see. What does it mean in Hebrew? What does it mean in Greek? And this is so cool. It was so eye-opening for us today and our ambassadors backstage. But in Hebrew, the word, I'm not even going to try to pronounce, I'm just going to spell it for you guys. Qavah, kavah, if I had to try to say it. It means to wait for, look eagerly for, hope, expect. And the root idea is to bind together by twisting, like making a rope. And when we read this, I was like, okay, to wait for, kind of on track with like our global view, our worldly view of waiting, right? We're like just sitting and waiting. But the next part, look eagerly for, that part was like, what? Okay. Eagerly, I'm eagerly looking for this pain that I've been going through for like the last week. It's 1:11 here while we're recording. No, I wasn't. So Cheryl was a big key in helping me to like shift my focus this week. But yeah, that look eagerly for and hope and expect.
Yes.
And I was trying in the moments to mind over matter the hopeful expectation. Like I really was. I was really trying to remind myself of like what God is doing, but then you're human, your heart, like not independently of God, but like the uniqueness part, I think is how I want to explain it. Like the individualized part of your connection with him, that was hurting for me. But now, yeah, this whole new definition is like it's been unlocked in a whole new way.
Yeah. And when I saw that, I was like, I knew it. I knew it. But I was like, I'm just going to wait to do that on the call because I think that's it. And then I go down on the rest of the call and our notes were like, God's waiting room. I was like, oh my gosh, it's already done. And so God knew we had to talk about his waiting room. And I've always felt that I felt because I grew up Catholic felt like about purgatory. Sorry. Purgatory
That's a whole
always.
nother conversation.
Yes. So, like, when I pictured purgatory, I was like, okay, I'm just here in the middle and it's between heaven and hell. Like, I don't know. So, what am I supposed to do? So, then that's like the striving point. Like, am I supposed to go to church? Am I supposed to get my first communion? All these things that we were taught to do. And I was like, but now I feel like I'm in purgatory all the time, like waiting for something to happen or something for me to do. It wasn't really like, it wasn't put on me. It was like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna just wait for something else to happen, and
Mm.
then I'll go to heaven, or then I'll not be in purgatory. I was, yeah. And so, what
Wow.
do you think about purgatory?
It's one of those. I heard the term a long time ago when I was becoming a Catholic. I was about to call myself what I was, becoming a Catholic, and I was like, I heard, "Don't be a cafeteria Catholic," and I was like, "Well, about that." That meant take and choose what you want and what you don't. Yeah, I was already doing that, but purgatory was definitely one of those things. I was like, nope, I don't believe in that. But I will say, when you were saying that and describing it, for me, growing up rooted in all different versions of Christianity, I always felt like even heaven was like a waiting thing until God used personal development to guide me to a book that was called The Four Agreements. If you've never read it, it's a quick listen. I listened to it. I actually didn't even own the physical copy. I might not. I don't. Anyway, irrelevant. But I listened to it and I remember exactly where I was when I heard this part because I was sitting outside of dance and our daughters had like back to back and it wasn't enough time with the youngest one. Her class wasn't long enough for me to run home and then grab Ella and come back. So I just made Ella come sit with me. And then I think I was pulled back up and I was listening in the car and it was talking about how heaven on earth, like heaven is now, like this can be heaven. You can have heaven on earth. And I opened my mind to the possibility that that could be possible. I wasn't agreeing with it, but I also wasn't quick to shut it down. So even like all that to say, even back then, I felt like it was a waiting to get to heaven versus where I feel now. I feel like the Lord's Prayer as we know it, like thy kingdom come, thy will be done, means right here, right now, when you're talking and walking it out. Like heaven is now and later. I used to love candy. So yeah, that's kind of what came up for me when you were talking about purgatory. Don't know how we would even know if there was a, like, for those who don't know what purgatory is, can you explain what the Catholics believe it is?
Well, I don't know what the Catholics believe about it
It makes
exactly, so
sense to
I
remind
can't
again,
say it. What I believed was it was like God's waiting room, but now
but
we're
it wasn't
updating.
good, but it
Yeah,
wasn't
it
bad.
wasn't good, right. It wasn't good or bad, and it's like, okay, I'm just living my life here.
Is it what, are we just a spirit hanging out with other spirits? Like, I don't know. It was always confusing to me.
It was always
Am I,
confusing, but I think we're
and if you think about being buried in a coffin, I'm like, are we just chilling in our coffins, or like how does that work?
okay, we're
Like it's
going way
crazy.
off topic. But to bring it all back, I've always felt like waiting was something that we had to do. But like looking at waiting now of like expecting and eagerly like waiting, eagerly waiting, not like sitting at the edge of our seat waiting, not like I love my new chair, but like chilling, it's different. And so some of the scriptures that were like waiting with hope is wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. That's Psalm 27:14. But like your let your heart take courage. Okay, he's got our heart and it's okay. Like it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. Like every time I say that now, I'm like, it's okay. It's actually gonna be okay now. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
I was going to add on to the next verse, which
yes.
ties into that, which is Isaiah 40:31, which says, but they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not grow faint. But the thing is, so this week has been challenging for me personally. And that even though I know that in my conscious brain, there was this like tension between what I was trying to tell myself and what I was feeling, until I did like keep bringing God in, even when it felt like it was quiet. Like, okay, I don't really know exactly. I know this verse is supposed to bring me some sort of peace, but it's not quite there yet. But I will say, even in those moments, that the waiting, I was trying to mind over matter, the conscious choice of like remembering his promises because of his character. And I will say, if you're not yet in our community, you have to come get into our Facebook community. It is where we are like constantly sharing this, constantly reminding you, constantly giving updates. We're experiencing it with you too. And even just, when was it? Oh, the first time we did it was in January when we were really diving into God's character. And then we just did it again during our 5-day challenge at the end of July. And even from there, that little bit of time, I think it's really hard. What awareness I've brought is that it's hard for humans, us humans, to know God's character if we don't keep like letting the word that's living keep reminding us and keep updating what we think we know. Even in just that little 6-7 month period, like getting to know God's character is like, that's the strength that has been made more aware, made more like, even though I was hurting, even though I was sad, it was like, okay, but I know God. And I'm like, then you have the understanding and the wisdom and the knowledge to like be able to remind yourself versus thinking, and acting in that thinking, So I would challenge our listeners to challenge your what you think, like take it to our community, take it to God, take it to the Bible, and see how you can update your thinking, because if we think we always know, then that's the end of us growing, honestly.
Yeah. And the other one was, but as for me, waiting with hope. As for me, I will look to the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me. And that goes along with God's character. It's just that has been so powerful for me. And I'm kind of like an all or nothing person. So I'm going to be like, yep, 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 nope, nope. Like I will automatically say, like, if that's not God, because he wouldn't do that. But looking at it like that, and just being open. And if you're in a waiting season, if it feels like a waiting season, we're all waiting. We're all waiting here too. So you're not alone in that. But if you're waiting patiently, I was talking about my friend who went to the DMV, or was had to go to DMV. All our birthdays are at the same time, and so they're like, oh, "You could do this." We had to renew our IDs, and she's found out that you could go online, get your place in line at the DMV. So she was like 80th in line. And then she's like, I'm going to leave at 50th in line. And then when she got there, her name was being called as she was walking through the door. And everyone else was like, I've been here forever. Like, I've been here forever waiting. And you just walk in the door and they call your name. And she's like, this is amazing. I was telling talking to the ambassadors, and I was like, well, we could figure out the tools beforehand. So, like, when we are waiting and when that time does come and our name is called, like, we're ready and we're ready to go. So, like, waiting with expectation, like, I wait for the Lord, my soul's wait, and in his word, I hope my soul's wait for the Lord more than watchmen for the morning. It's like that's Psalm 6, Romans 8 always comes up.
Yeah.
We wait eagerly for adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies. If we're in this hope, we're saved. We wait with patience. Like, imagine those people seeing my friend just walking in and her name's called, and they're like number 80 in the line and they have to be there the whole time. Let's wait with expectation. Let's get in our Bibles. Let's walk with Jesus on Wednesdays. Let's do podcasts. Let's share. Let's be a blessing. That's like also a theme
Yes.
for today. Like, be a blessing in these moments. Share all those things. Like, wait with
Yeah, and for
expectation.
me, it's like bringing up the fact that waiting, a lot of times in the worldly view and in our old worldly definitions, waiting was passive versus now waiting in God's waiting room or however God's calling you to wait, a majority of the time, it is not passive. Like you are, and by that, I don't mean you're up like killing and hustling and doing stuff. Like, even when you, like, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like going into your Bible is not passive, right? If you're just being passive, to me now, it actually is even like scary to sit, because when we think more about like what we do when we are being passive, where do we go?
Yeah.
In our thoughts. We're just chilling in our thoughts. And where is the enemy? In the spiritual realm, which is our thoughts. So if we're just chilling in there by ourselves, doing nothing, just thinking our thoughts and thinking our thoughts to ourselves, that is dangerous. So
Yeah.
if you are in that waiting season, bring in God. Even if you don't bring in an outside human being, bring in God to your thoughts. And that's one thing I will say that I noticed I was doing for the last week. And like, okay, God, I don't like this. I don't know it, but like, help me, help me. This is what I want to do. I want to be willing. I want to do this. I want to expect you are faithful. I want, help me increase it. And I was just pleading with him, and then also talking to my trusted people. Like, okay, what are your thoughts? Okay, what do you say? What do you say? What do you have? And to me, when I'm doing that, because God and I have like worked on my people, my circle, if you will, it's never, even though it's coming out of Cheryl's mouth or whoever, my mother-in-law or whoever, it is not them speaking though, right? Like, that's how I know. Like yesterday, I knew she was nervous as crap to like call me to the fire. And she's like, I'm gonna challenge you on that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
go for it. But I still said even if I'm crossing my body and closing it up, my brain was still like, okay, I'm gonna hear what she says. I'm gonna marinate on it. And it will unlock. So even that is like you're still getting the message. It's like God is gonna use them if you're seeking it, if you're crying for it, and if you're giving him permission. So
Yeah, and I think the next step is waiting while trusting. And
mhm.
the vision of my husband hating going to Walmart because you have to wait in all the lines, and waiting, or like hating to go to the post office. So he makes me do those things because I do not care. Because to me, I go in there like it's all going to happen for me and there's never any lines.
Parallel
Like, I'm like,
parking, no line.
yeah, and every time he comes with me, there's always a line or there's always something. I was like, it's your energy, whatever you bring. But he when I went to the post office today, it was like there was no line. There was people behind me, but there was no line for me. And then whenever I go to Walmart, it's always like really fast. There I don't know why he thinks, but every time I go with him, it's always like I get in a line behind someone who cannot do something. And so he has that belief in his head. So if you have a belief in your head, you're still not open to trusting God in that moment. Like even as little
Yes.
as a Walmart line or even getting a good parking spot. Like that's another thing. Like getting a good parking spot is so much fun with my husband because he whenever I'm like go that way, he's like go that way and then he goes the other way and then I was like okay, I'm not going to say anything. But I have improved as a backseat driver a little. A little bit. I'm not as
A little.
crazy because I was like we went on a road trip and I was like, "Aren't I better now?" He's like, "Yeah, actually, yes." And then we went through hills and I was not okay. So, and I was like, "We didn't have to go through the hills." So, I don't know what happened there. So, waiting while trusting, some verses are Proverbs 20:22. Do not say, "I will repay evil." Wait for the Lord and he will deliver you. Yes. And Psalm 62:5. For God alone,
Mm.
O my soul, wait in silence, for my hope is from him. Yes. I'm just thinking about that Walmart line. Like it's all about that. And then Isaiah, our good trusty friend, from of old no one has heard or perceived by the ear. No eye has seen a God besides you, whose acts for those who wait for him. So if you're in a season of
Yes.
waiting, or if you're going to Walmart, or if you're going to the DMV, or if wherever your soul is waiting for, if you're waiting for that call from a job interview or that call from something that you think is going to change your life, wait and like have fun waiting. That's all I got. That's all I got. So you want to close
Yes.
it out?
Have fun waiting. Yeah. Invite God into the wait. And as much as you can, even if you don't have your own testimony, actually, no, go find your own testimony in your own life. Everyone has something where God proved to be what he says he is. So even if it's not in the same category, so like let's say you're struggling in your relationship and then you're like, your testimony is in like your finances, then okay, great, go find the times where like okay, it all worked out, I was okay, I was scared, it sucked, but I was okay, right? Or whatever version of that works for you, and find your testimony and just keep reminding yourself of it, and be willing to hear other people when it might be hard to hear it, and see, to me too, it's like taking that accountability piece as well, which we didn't even really scratch the surface of that on this
Next
version of,
pod.
yeah, this podcast. Oh, the next one is yeah, like accountability in your waiting period. Ooh, there we are, we got it,
Yep.
there it is right there.
Love it. So if you're not subscribed to our channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our podcast wherever you're listening to this, and join the Real Missing Piece community on Facebook. We are growing in there. It's so amazing. And we want you to be part of it. And we just invite you to belong before you believe. And we will see you soon. Bye.